Hello and welcome to the season 2 of Meet the Media Vatan series. Today in the episode, we have someone who specializes in education technology and she has been consulted by UNESCO on various distance education projects. She is a professor in distance education and currently heads the prestigious Commonwealth Educational Media Centre for Asia as director. Let me welcome Professor Madhu Parhar to the show.
Thank
Very warm
you.
welcome to the show. Thank you so much, Professor Prahar, for joining us today. So, before I request Professor Madhu Prahar to deliver her talk, let me present a brief of her illustrious career to the audience. Professor Madhu Prahar is an expert in education technology, open and distance education, instructional design, and has contributed several articles and research papers in these areas. She has been consulted by UNESCO on several distance education projects. Professor Madhu Parhar has co-edited several books, including Open and Distance Education, Indian Education Development Since Independence and Education in India, Dynamics of Development. She was Professor of Distance Education in Staff Training and Research Institute of Distance Education Stride at Indira Gandhi National Open University. She has held number of roles in IGNOU and in other institutions, including Wawasan Open University, Penang, Malaysia. Currently, Professor Madhu Prar is the director of prestigious Commonwealth Education Media Centre for Asia, popularly known as SIMCA. It is such an honor having Professor Madhu Prar on the show today. She is going to talk on a very, very relevant topic today, educational media in India, scope and challenges. I'm sure viewers will benefit from her tremendous knowledge and experience in the education technology. Over to you, Professor Prahar.
Thank you so much, dear learners and all my colleagues from the university. I must thank the university for giving me this chance to give a brief talk on scope and challenges for education media. You, the learners, especially from the media, those who are undergoing the course in media, whether it's a graduate program or a postgraduate program or a PhD program, I'm sure you people know much more than what I'm going to talk in the next 10 to 15 minutes. But still, let's say the topic is scope and challenges for educational media. Uh, Educational media, the history we all know. I don't want to get into the details of it, but maybe just in a very brief how it all evolved. So the first evolution, maybe way back, it was before the independence, even in the Indian independence. What was the evolution of the media? It was the oral communication, and that was the human speech. From there we started. I will not get into the examples because as adults and all being in the media sector, you all know what we are talking about, the oral communication. These days all of us, we do that, and it's still prevalent. It is not that it was the beginning, the oral communication, but still in the present day oral communication is prevalent, though it has come or advanced with videos and pictures and illustrations and so on and so forth. So from oral communication, the next stage was the written communication. And written communication, if we see in our old movies, there was a pigeon, and the pigeon used to carry a small letter, and that was a written communication in the older days. But again, it developed, it evolved, and now the text in education is the written communication. Whether those are our textbooks or reference books or lecture notes or self learning material, whatever you say, the text in education is our written communication. From there, we move to the broadcast media. And broadcast media, again, all of you, you know, radio came as early as 1933 or as late as 1933, rather as early as 1933, before, even before that. But radio was the medium. And you know how, again, radio evolved. Now, these days, you have FM. Earlier, I know you people are quite young, the learners especially. but we used to have that with Bharti or only the news broadcast. But now you have the FM stations, and not one FM station, you have several FM stations, and there are community radios also, which do the narrow broadcasting. From radio, we came to the television, and all of you, again, the development of the television. It was black and white, then it came color television, and so on. And then it became an interactive radio and an interactive television. I'll skip there because each one of you know. The next evolution was our computer technologies. Computer came in, I think, May 80s. So computer-based learning was very, very important, and it has again evolved over it. There are several devices, not only devices, various types of devices. Even the software changed, and then we started learning through computers. I will not say the last, but yes, on this screen, in this slide, I tried to develop that what should be the last one. And it is the online learning environment, where we talk about the learning management system, we talk about MOOCs, and so on. Your university, you should be proud of it, that one of the early birds to have all those things. A big studio, an effective studio, and your learning management system, your education technology department is very strong. But this is the present online learning environment, is the present media. From here, we move to what is the philosophy and nature of this media. Maybe I can move to the next slide when we talked about the online. So these days, each one of you, especially again the learners, we talk about the social media. I don't want to get into it because people like me, maybe we just go message on a WhatsApp or watch a video, but you people, the younger generation, very smart. The Twitter or the Google or the LinkedIn or the Skype and so on and so forth, whatever you say, YouTube, Pinterest, and many, many things. You people are, the younger generation, are very, very learners, and they use these social medias. So these are some of them. You can add many more. Now, coming to the previous slide, maybe. So what was the nature of this media? Firstly, it is not a prisoner of the geography. So it is not that you all are sitting in Hyderabad or various other regions of the Hyderabad, districts of the Hyderabad, various other places of Hyderabad, or the districts of Telangana or Andhra Pradesh. So it is not a prisoner of geography. It improves accuracy and quality. Both, if you can argue that whether if you are face to face, whether it is, if you are not using any media, is it not accurate or quality? But yes, the media can improve the quality, and that's the best. If you see an example is the films or the documentaries which are prepared by educational institutions, or maybe let's say BBC or National Geographic, and so on and so forth. The third nature of the media is it reduces time and it reduces cost. Wonderful. If you all had to call me to your university, Manu, maybe you have to be sending me an air ticket and my stay arrangements and so on and so forth. But it's so easy now that without any cost, we are connecting with each other. It reduces time, all of you know. A thing which can be explained, described, discussed in 1 hour, you can do it in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Increases outreach. Again, I don't want to get into the detail. If you see the television, so the outreach is so much. Maybe the community radios or the radios have much more outreach than the television. So the media increases the outreach, what you want to communicate. Whether it is simple information, simple news, or educational media, it increases the outreach, and it swaps hard work with smart work. So these days, we don't talk about hard work, we talk about smart work. So media enhances, and that's the philosophy and the nature of the media. Again, you can add many more points here. Now, the next important point, which this was a very brief about how the media evolved in not only in our country but world over. But then in the 21st century, even before that, I mean, the beginning of the 21st century or the end of the 21st century, there were several digital initiatives which came into India. And I'm just talking about this, which you see on the screen. It's only the educational digital initiatives. We are not talking about the entertainment initiatives or anything else. There are several initiatives which are come digital when we talk about online and social media and so on and so forth. So India has become very advanced on this. And the first and the foremost, all of you know SWAM. This is a platform of Government of India where more than 1,000 courses are there, and the University Grants Commission has said that the students can take 40% of their credit or accumulate 40% of the credit through SWAM courses. So this is one of the very important digital initiative of Government of India. Second is the virtual labs. I don't know how many of you have heard about it. I'm sure you must have, but how many of you have utilized virtual labs? Again, a MHRD Government of India initiative. SEMCA has been creating awareness for the teachers as well as for the students on virtual labs. Like IITs or these technical institutions, they have created virtual labs, and it is very important initiative. Why? Because since 2020, March 2020, when the lockdown was there, students were not able to go to the universities, colleges, and could not able to do the science experiments, which is a very important learning component of the science. So virtual labs is an alternative, and let me tell you, try use it if you haven't used those virtual labs. SEMCA has been doing several programs. We have trained teachers, Open University teachers, students also on virtual labs. It's very effective so that at least you are not devoid of the lab experiments in the lockdown. Maybe now the universities, colleges have reopened, but if you do supplement these with virtual labs, you will see the amount of learning it takes. Education 32 channels there are, which is called Swam Prabha. I will not get into detail of it. It's a broadcast channel, again started by Government of India, and now they are going to, in this new budget, they said it will be increased manyfold. National Digital Library, all your educational material from various organizations are into it. National Digital Library of India, hosted by IIT Kharagpur, must go and see. The material, educational material, is available in various languages. I'm sure all of you know, but it is just a repetition. Shodh Ganga, those who are doing PhD, those who are the PhD scholars listening to this presentation, you can go to this portal and see it's a reservoir of the thesis, the dissertations and the thesis, whether it is PhD or MPhil. You can get many review of literature, you can do it. Then it is Diksha. Diksha is a digital infrastructure knowledge sharing or e-learning of NCERT. It is related to school education. NROER is a digital platform of NCERT. All books of NCERT of all subjects of all levels are there. Students can simply download it and they can read it. NMEICT, National Mission of Education through ICT, and IIT Bombay, they have done e-Pathshala. If we go into the detail, I think it will take complete 2 to 3 hours to explain each one of these initiatives, but must go and see what good work has been done by various organizations and Government of India. From here, we move to another important aspect of when we talk about the scope of educational media in India. And these are the research studies. As students, as researchers, we must know that whether media has any role to play in our teaching learning. So, how do you find it out? These are through research studies. I've just listed 4 important themes. Again, you can go and find it out more on various websites. But there are large number of studies, like studies in the effectiveness, whether the media is effective or not. People argue, and many of you also must be thinking about whether the media is effective, whether the television or radio, or you can say these online things, are these effective? There are several studies, and of course, the findings are mixed one. So some people, they have found out that the learning program, which is also a kind of media, or a radio or a television, is much more effective. Certain other found out that it is not effective. Reaction of students and teachers is another very important area where the large number of studies have been done, that what the students react, how do they react, how do teachers react to the media. Preference of media, another theme where several studies have been done, whether it is radio or television or MOOCs or interactive broadcast, what is the instructional design of these broadcasts, and so on and so forth. And the last area, which I have listed it on this slide for you all to think about it, is the media integration in teaching learning. Several times we have seen the media is either integrated or not integrated. It can be supplementary media also. So several studies have been done, and that's what we talk when we talk about the scope and challenges. This theme, research studies, becomes very, very important for the students to understand it. Now here come to the next 2-3 more slides. I'll not take much time. That what are the challenges of these educational media? There are few challenges. Again, these are few ones. You all can add more on this. Like, let's say, training and professional training. How to use, like what Omar had to do, that he had to train me before using this platform, because all of us, we are used to, like I am used to Zoom or to Google and so on. So, but yes, you need training to how do you use it and how do you integrate media into your teaching learning process. We have seen several teachers or even the professionals, they don't find convenient, or they're not confident of integrating the media into their teaching learning. So you need a professional training or training how to integrate it. Network issues are there, which is negative. You can call it a negative or a positive challenge, but network issues are there. Many people, and especially after COVID or during the lockdown, many students, teachers, they said there are several network issues, and some at times we sitting in Delhi, or you all sitting in the main city in Hyderabad, must have found the network issues. So if you talk about the rural areas, you can imagine. Resistance to change, this is the most important challenge. We, the teachers, and I'm not talking about only the teachers, even the administrators, the policy makers, before COVID 2020, March 2020, everyone showed resistance. Suddenly, we all accepted this online learning or use of media. And I'm sure all of you will agree to it, that we were not ready when computers came. We said that they are going to take away the job of the teachers. But now without computers, without all these platforms like Zoom or this present one, what we are doing, we feel now we are nowhere. So resistance to change is still there. Change is still there among the teachers as well as the students, maybe due to certain reasons. Next challenge is devices and software, very important, and especially all of us, we came to we know about these devices. Like in a family of 4 or 5, the parents are also, especially post lockdown or during lockdown, the family has just 2 devices, laptops, 2 mobiles. So children are also working on those devices. The parents have to do the office work on the same devices. So that's also a challenge, that how to provide it. And there are several other under these devices and software. Policymakers and heads of organizations need a lot of conviction. They need to be convinced about that media is the future. It's not that we can ignore it. Now everyone has accepted, and everyone has to accept more about the media it is. Assessment, how do you do assessment? Many people, they say yes, assessment cannot be done through computers, but lot of work is being done. And people, they have started, in whether we say in open universities or we say formal system. I'm sure your university also have done the assessment of the students through these computers, or within from your LMS, and so on and so forth. Social media, I don't want to again, because I'm sure all of you are much more versed with the social media and the challenges with social media is facing. um, Education is not left behind. We all know the at least the politics of what happens. I don't want to get into it, but the education part, yes, it's we have to be very, very careful when we are using social media. But I don't think so. Many universities or organizations, let's say, for example, Facebook, they are using as an educational tool. What we do is that we the broadcast is put live through the Facebook. So now there is a possibility of hacking, there is a possibility of privacy in that, and many organizations, they have privacy policies. And here there are no privacy policies. And you have seen over the last few years, 1 or 2 years, especially in the last 2, 3 months, how much this has become important. Unproductive. My opinion, I'm not talking about education, but if we say other things, if you go to a Facebook, you spend a lot of time, and which is unproductive. But yes, education, if you are doing very sincerely education through Facebook or through Twitter, I think it has a lot of impact. But otherwise, in my opinion, again, maybe you will differ it, but at times it becomes unproductive. Misuse of tools, all of you know. Antisocial behavior, many times, when even you must have read in the newspapers, these online teaching learning during the lockdown was very, at times, very bad in the school, especially. Someone used to hack it, someone used to tease the students, and so on and so forth. Even the teachers were impacted with that. Online abuse is again the same thing. Time required to monitor on social media is very, very important. Just giving you an example of, like, say, the swam courses. When we take up a course, you have your discussion forum, or you have to read, or your online classes. So you need time to monitor that. When you get emails, you have to, the teacher has to respond, the student has to submit the assignments on time, and so on and so forth. So time required to monitor is also very important challenge in the social media. I talk and end with my this last slide, that what are the future of the media. These were all coming, and we could see in the last 5 years or 10 years how it has completely changed the educational media. Now, what is the future? Just few things I have listed, and again, it has become old now, redundant, these things. OER is the latest, or many universities, but still people, they are not convinced that we should use open education resources as a media. MOOCs, your university is doing a lot. Your Education Technology Center is quite advanced into it. So MOOCs are whether you take it from, and there are several platforms, whether Future Learn, edX, Udemy, and Udacity, and so on and so forth. There are several MOOCs, and that's very, very important. And data shows that students during the, not only the students, otherwise also the general public also used MOOC courses to upgrade their knowledge. Micro credentials is another future media in education. Online courses are also another media. I have not written about all those: augmented reality, artificial intelligence, virtual reality. All those are also going to be the future media. So what I see in SEMCA, especially, I can give you an example that we started. We said radio is a very old-fashioned media, but I feel here during the last 2 years, community radio and radio was excellent tool, you can say, or the media which we used during the lockdown. But it's not that it is going to be go away. But yes, the future media are also going to come, and very fast it will invade in our day-to-day life. So I end here. It's you, the students, we, the teachers, we need to understand how we are going to use media for learning. That's the most important point. With this, I'll stop sharing my slides now for questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Parhar, for such an enriching talk to our audience. And the way you took us through the journey of, education media and the issues which we have been facing and the kind of scope we have for the education media in this country. I really thank you from bottom of my heart for giving us your valuable time for our audience today. So yeah, we still have 2-3 minutes in hand. We can take up 2-3 questions. Can I request my producer to kindly put first question on screen? Yeah, full screen, please.
Okay, I can read the question. Shakil has asked, how much students learn through MOOC actively? Actively. Yes, these are, there are several studies. Again, the mixed findings. Students, those who are, when we talk about, especially in open and distance learning, we talk about self-learning, self-motivated learners. But it is not only in open and distance learning. All students, all of us are, and especially the adults, we are self-motivated learners. Yes, we have seen in SWEM, there are large number of enrollment, but the pass out rate is less. That is one point. You talked about the learning. Learning, it happens, and learning is not only in the form of achievement, that I have achieved 95 marks out of 100. Learning is how I apply into my day-to-day life what I have learned. So again, I'll say, Shakil, that these are mixed studies. But majority of the MOOC studies say that there is a learning of the students, in the students.
Great. Hope Shakil Ahmad, your question is well answered. Professor Madhu Prahar, I have one question for you. We recently launched this NEP 2020 actually. And if you look at the national education policy, especially the part third of the policy, it emphasizes a lot on education technology. And there are, very ambitious targets have been given in the national education policy. Like, we have a GER, gross enrollment ratio, somewhere around 27% at the moment. But NEP sort of envisage a GER of around 50% by 2030. So what kind of role for educational media you see, to sort of, promote the gross enrollment ratio?
Okay, this out of the context. Firstly, the gross enrollment ratio we need to redefine. I'll not discuss that part of it. The how do you redefine? How we need to redefine gross enrollment ratio. But anyway, see, in US, the United States, when they say that their gross enrollment ratio is 70%. China says their gross enrollment is 50%. All these developed countries like US, Canada, Australia, they say their gross enrollment ratio is more than 60%. How do they calculate? They
True.
calculated that not only the school going, or sorry, the university or the children, those who are in the age group of 17 to 21, that's the higher education enrollment. They don't
Right.
calculate it that way. They calculated that even you and me, those who are enrolled into these courses, the educational media or MOOC courses, for our lifelong learning, they calculated that way. So we need to see that, the point number one. Point number two, definitely media can play, like what they have done, UGC has done, that they said take 40 credits, 40% credits through SWAM, enroll in those courses and you can take that. So media is playing a major role into that. So the enhancement of the gross enrollment ratio, I will say that we need to redefine that part of it.
True. So we have next question, please? So how and
Again,
where senior people take training for advanced technology for inculcating in their teaching?
senior people, what do you mean by senior people? Because the second part is inculcating in their teaching. Senior, I'll retire at the age of 65. So, what do you say? Senior, or so they will not be there. But
True.
if I answer your question, Shakil, again, self learning. What I can give you again my example, because my experience, and there it is true with everyone. If I have to, as an adult, again, if I don't know anything on mobile, what do I do? We go to our children, we go to our peer group, and we learn, because that's the need and that's the necessity. And if you can see, how do we learn computers? Even it is self learning, so you have to be motivated to learn these technologies. And of course you can take courses, and then the second point is, yes, you can take courses. These are all skill courses, you can do those, but very important is self learning. If I have interest that I need to use media in my teaching learning, I'll definitely do. Like, simple example is, we the teachers don't even make powerpoints, and powerpoints which are effective. Making powerpoints is one point, and making effective powerpoints is another point. So we need to learn. You can learn on your own. It should be, you should be motivated, we should be motivated to use that.
Absolutely. Everyone should be motivated to use technology, and technology needs a lot of training, definitely. Once you use it, then you sort of came across through the various nuances of the technology. So I'm afraid we have already crossed 30 minutes now. It's like 33 minutes we have spent on this show today. So I will have to close today's show, and I must thank Professor Madhu Parhar for kindly joining us today and taking her valuable time. Uh, I'm so grateful to you, madam, and I'm sure in future as well we will need you on different topics to enrich the audience, especially on education media and its different impacts actually. So we are also thinking of a sort of mini series where we can discuss education technology, from NEP point of view actually. So NEP has different aspects of the education technology, and we are going to sort of start a mini series on it, and we'll require your help on this series also. So once again, I thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure audience would have enriched a lot from your talk today. Uh, it's time to close the show now. I thank you all
Yeah.
joining us. Uh,
My
yeah,
last point, I thank you. You introduced me to this platform, StreamYard. So I learned a lot through that. This is, again, a new platform. So I must thank you and all your colleagues for this.
thank you so much. So nice of you. You joined us today. I'm so grateful to you. So dear
Okay.
audience, it's time. Thank you so much, madam. So it's time to close the show today. I thank you all for joining us today. We will be back in another show with yet another media veteran next month. Till then, take care. Thank you so much.